everybody, my name is Desiree Fleck and I'm the owner of FleckFarm Patterns. Today I'm going to show you how to roll a ball of yarn. So today I'm going to show you how to roll a ball of yarn using Premier's Anti-Pilling Everyday Bulky. This is the yarn that we use in the Comfy Cozy Skill Kits with FleckFarm Patterns. This is a great yarn. It's very silky and it's great for beginners because it's a chunky yarn and it doesn't split very easily. So we're going to start by removing the wrapper. And some people like to keep the wrappers. I like to keep the wrappers for a short amount of time. Oops, some yarn got stuck. I like to keep the wrappers for a short amount of time just because I write down the information about the yarn, so if I'm making a project or I'm going to use it later, I will have all that information. Sometimes you can also just keep the label. Today I'm just going to set it to the side, like so. Oh, and something else. This yarn does include measuring tape inside the wrapper, which is handy for different items, different things you're going to do, either checking gauge or making a pattern. A lot of yarns will also have a pattern inside, so you may be keeping it for that too. Just put that right there. All right, so when you have your ball of yarn, how they wind it is they have the inside. It pulls from the inside, and you can kind of look here. There's the end right here, so it's actually two ends. We're gonna go ahead and pull those out. You can see that one is pulling from the outside. This one we're going to pull out this way, and this is the one that's going around the outside. Some people like to use the yarn just from the outside strand, but it gets kind of cumbersome later on when you're doing a project and you're trying to unroll the yarn. Right now I'm just gonna wrap that loosely around, and we're going to be pulling from the middle to make the ball. Also, some people just pull from the middle to start their projects. What I have found happens is that it works okay for the beginning of the project, but as you start getting into the middle and the end of the yarn, the outside of the yarn starts collapsing in on itself and it makes a huge tangled mess. So I like to roll the yarn in a ball before I start any project, and that just helps. When you have your yarn in a ball, it's only pulling from what is on the very outside. And a few strands might slip off like that. That's fine because you can go like this. And this one's slipping off. Alright, maybe that wasn't a great example, but here we go. I'm gonna show you here. Okay, perfect. So now we're down to just one. I could use this to work on my project, or I could just wind it up again like this. Little tangle. Boop. So even though that took more than I thought, it's not a giant tangle. And all that is wrapped back up. So what I like to do is roll my yarn into a ball at the very beginning. So as you can see, as I was pulling this out, there's kind of a clump of yarns that came out at the same time. This is just, we're gonna untangle this as it comes out. This is something that would have come out when I had a project on this end, and it would be a lot harder to untangle with a project connected to it. It's a pain. So we're just gonna untangle that. don't know what that's doing. Okay. So this is our loose end. We're just going to work it right through all of these. Knitter's Paradise. Huh? Alright. And that helped loosen all of that. Yay! Alright, so what I like to do to first start a yarn ball is, like I'm going to make a tassel. If you've seen my tassel videos, you know I just start with a loop down here and wrap it around my hand. I do the same thing to start a yarn ball. So you just want to start looping and looping and looping. And I'll keep going until it's pretty much, I can't really hold much on my hand anymore. And this goes for any type of yarn. Regular yarn, it doesn't get this big this fast, but the other yarn, you do still want to make it into this size of a loop. And then I pop it off my hand like that, so it's a loop. Twist it once and fold it down, and it's about the shape of a small yarn ball. So this is when you get to the end of your yarn ball, it'll just boop, unfold, and that's all the yarn you have left. So you just want to twist it, put it in this shape of a ball, hold it together on this side with your hands, and then we're just going to use the loose yarn to secure it down in the closed position. So you can see now that that is holding it down, and we'll just keep pulling and rotate a little bit at a time to help secure this down into a ball. So about 3 loops, turn, 3 more loops, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and you can start to see that we get like a little crisscrossing pattern. And you can turn it and start going this way. This yarn will be hooked kind of to this one, and you'll come back up around this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you can turn again a little bit, and you just want to keep turning and looping it around. Sometimes it'll be like, oh, it slipped off. It's okay, just keep rolling it. And I like to turn and find where the ball is getting uneven. So like this, I'm not going to worry about yet because it'll get pushed down in a different way. But it's kind of getting along this way, so I need it thicker this way. And I'm going to turn it so that the main loop part is on this side. And I'll use my thumb as a guide for the yarn, like this. And then when I move my thumb, it'll just be like that. Boop. So the thumb also works. There we go. Wrapping this down. The thumb also works to help hold down the yarn like that. Alright, I'm going to go here now. And as you can see, the yarn hasn't tangled up very much coming out, which is great. And I think that wrapping a yarn ball at the beginning of a project also helps so that the yarn comes out more evenly. Because you're pulling it at an even speed and not randomly at times as you would with a project. So especially as you can see, it's getting kind of squished down. And you can see when the yarn is moving out of the skein of yarn to the ball of yarn. And that is what you want. You want to be able to see that it's coming out smoothly and not tangling up. I'm just gonna keep wrapping this. So you can see that there's a lot coming around this side, and so I'm gonna turn it and wrap more on this side. Still using my thumb as somewhat of a guide, turning the ball a little bit. Turn a little bit. Turn a little bit. And you can see that since these sides are kind of poking out now, I'm going to flip back to the other side. And I can go here because this will help secure that yarn in place. This is another thing that just as you practice, it'll get better. And as you practice, it'll be something that you enjoy doing. A lot of my family members help me wrap yarn balls before I start a project. You can see that you can, we're getting down to the end of it. This is where when you're working on a project, sometimes, not so much with this yarn, but sometimes when you have a ball of yarn, it's really going to get tangly because sometimes the smaller inner threads will pull. Now you can see that the yarns that we wrapped on the outside at the beginning, we can just slide those right over here. Those are secure now. They're gonna be the end of where our yarn ball comes. And we'll keep working on that. Yeah, anyway, I was saying my family members also like to wrap yarn balls, and they'll do that for me sometimes as a favor, which I appreciate. My mom especially. She's like, "Can I help you? Can I wrap this yarn ball?" I'm like, "Thank you so much." Because it just takes some time. Alright, and you can see, almost done. Not getting tangled. Yes, there's the end. We see it. We see the end of the tunnel. Perfect. Some people like to put the end of the yarn under like that. I don't usually do that, but that is a way you can secure the end of the yarn so it's just not rolling everywhere. Another thing you can do is to take a stitch marker like this. This is another item from our beginner kit. The stitch markers. And you can just put through the yarn like that and secure. And that'll also hold it too. But if you get a lot of yarn, you need a lot of stitch markers. So depending on the amount of yarn you have, that can be more or less helpful. Alright, well there's how to make a yarn ball. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you try one of our Comfy Cozy skill kits. The yarn is great, and I love teaching people how to do things. So I will see you next time. Thank you!